This is PRIME7 Local News.
Tonight, Telstra coverage out for days, leaving businesses out of pocket. A local woman's identity stolen, leaving her unable to do anything. And a COVID surge leaves North East Health at capacity.
Now, PRIME7 Local News.
Good evening. A North East community is reeling after its Telstra mobile coverage was cut out for days. The mass outage happened during the telco's upgrade to the Myrtleford network. The biggest impact was on businesses, which were unable to process electronic transactions, leaving them thousands of dollars out of pocket.
Business owners outraged, all because of an outage.
Overall, it's just been a real disaster for us the last 3-4 days.
Not being able to contact them during the day or worrying about coverage if the school needs to contact me, it is a concern.
Residents and traders in Myrtleford were left high and dry when Telstra's mobile data system was switched off as upgrades were made to a 5G network, many say without warning.
I only had SOS on my mobile, but 4:30 yesterday afternoon, my partner Brenda got a message telling us that there was an outage going to occur in Myrtleford. 2.5 days late, but never mind.
Businesses reverted to old-fashioned cash or honesty systems.
Here's my bank details, can you please pay it in my details? Lucky enough, I've had all the support and people have just gone, yes, no worries, or have paid cash.
Everybody was saying having FPOS issues, from the hairdresser to the pizza shops to virtually every second business in town. This area has got an issue with all mobile communication all the way through the valley.
IOUs lined the wall at Dale's Butchery with customers unable to pay for their meat. Owner Damien Dale says the business lost thousands in a matter of days.
Because they just haven't got the cash, so they just walk out or go to the supermarket where their machines are still working.
The network carrier says most of the town should be back online now, but there could be more minor interruptions early next week.
No promises. Yeah, so no promises. Look, I work very positively and I hope that they can fix it but this is not the first time, let's face it.
Telstra says once works are complete, residents and businesses will see better coverage, especially at peak times when it's busy, but locals are yet to be convinced.
Hopefully 5G does the job. If not, we'll wait for 6.
Clesianta, PRIME7 News.
An Albury mother has spoken out about a terrifying ordeal of having her identity stolen 2 months ago. The woman's life has been turned upside down, with most of her online services, including her bank accounts, hacked by a heartless fraudster.
The Glenroy mother says she's at her wits' end after thieves stole her identity. It's been a terrifying 2-month ordeal.
Basically had everything in my life hacked. MyGov, Centrelink, Medicare Services New South Wales, ATO, bank accounts.
It's unknown how this crime was committed, but the victim believes the perpetrator may have stolen a letter from the mailbox instructing her to come forward for a new licence photo, with the thieves pretending to be her. Since then, it's been a snowball effect: hacked phone and laptop, new bank accounts, loans and credit cards created, and a former business name of hers reinstated.
Absolutely everything has changed to the point I am actually now getting a new name, new ID for myself, because there's no end to it.
Well, it's the ultimate invasion, isn't it? It's just as if someone breaks into your house and steals your property. In this fact, you're talking about someone breaking into your life.
Police say identity theft isn't prevalent in this region, but the Glenroy mother is proof it can happen anywhere and at any time. It's having a huge impact on her life, with the resident at a complete loss as she navigates loopholes in the system.
All this, security, online security measures aren't worth a pinch of salt, really. Really sort of gutted that my life is being attacked, but really disappointed that everyone talks about ID theft, but no one is actually willing to actually do anything to change it.
Jessica Whitty, PRIME7 News.
There were queues for petrol this morning after one independent service station dropped its price dramatically. APCO in Wodonga has unleaded, selling for $1.56. That's 50 cents a litre cheaper than most other service stations.
I didn't even notice. I just come here all the time.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's good to get the price down a bit, make it easier for us to travel.
United in Wodonga was also selling fuel at $1.56. It's a different story north of the border. Unleaded is still $2 plus at most Albury service stations. Beeline is promising a faster trip to Melbourne with the full switch to Velocity trains. A new timetable will be introduced in 4 weeks, cutting travel times by up to 27 minutes. All 6 daily services will be run on the new trains. The trains were designed and built especially for the Albury line. Health authorities are urging locals to take precautions as COVID wards hit capacity. Sarah Krieg has the latest for us now. And Sarah, how are hospitals coping?
Maddie, Wangaratta Hospital's COVID ward is full and Albury Hospitals isn't far behind. The region is averaging a few hundred new cases each day, leading to an increasing number in hospitalisations. Modelling points to the current wave getting worse before it gets better, with the peak expected in the next month or so. Local healthcare providers say they're prepared, but they are asking for the community's cooperation to make sure the wave isn't as bad as it's expected to be.
And apologies for that, we seem to be having some technical difficulties. The COVID jab for children under the age of 5 has been provisionally approved, but it's not yet available. The Therapeutic Goods Administration announced Moderna's COVID vaccine could safely be given to young children from 6 months in doses 1/4 the size of adults. But it's had a mixed reaction locally.
I just think it's unnecessary and dangerous. I don't think there's been enough research on that, so I'm totally against it.
Maybe it's okay. I don't know, but it depends on the parents, it's all.
While the vaccine has been provisionally approved for this age group, Australia's top vaccine advisory body still needs to provide recommendations on its use. The Royal Australian College of GPs is warning a policy change could see significant negative impacts for healthcare in rural and remote communities. The policy change is aimed at boosting the GP workforce in regional and outer metro areas, but it means international doctors won't have to service rural and remote communities first. The organisation says it's concerning to see health professionals already relocating closer to cities, leaving more rural communities without the services they need.
We're very concerned that this policy change in isolation, which is a distribution change, is distributing doctors away from rural remote into these areas.
The college would also like to see more incentives to attract GPs from metropolitan areas. Well, it's time now for a quick check of today's weather, and let's take a look at those temperatures now. We did see some winds around the place, keeping temperatures feeling a little bit cooler than what you can see, and apologies for those missing numbers. We are, as I mentioned before, having a few technical difficulties tonight. Yarrawonga hit 17 down to 1 overnight, Wangaratta 17 down to -1 overnight as well. Now, we are expecting to see fine conditions across the weekend, temperatures remaining above average for this time of year. Rutherglen hit 17 today, Albury Wodonga 18 dropping down to 0 overnight. The sun should be out on Sunday. I'll have the weekend weather forecast for you shortly. Still to come in Prime 7 local news, a surge in domestic violence sparks an agency recruitment drive, and soaring power prices force many to shop around for a better deal.
You can catch up with Prime 7 local news anytime, anywhere on 7plus, and stay in touch 24/7 on 7news.com.au.
The Centre Against Violence is recruiting with an increasing workload and expanding services. The organisation's acting CEO says a combination of factors means they need more staff to help support victim survivors of domestic abuse and sexual assault. Applicants need a tertiary qualification in a relevant field to take on the roles.
Some of the work that we do is managing the high risk can be really confronting, and we want to have the right people doing that so that we can ensure that they're looked after and our clients are looked after.
The centre, which covers the Ovens and Murray, also runs the Orange Door Emergency Relief Program for the North East region. We're being urged to shop around in the energy market as soaring prices put further strain on household budgets. The experts say there are plenty of power-saving options out there, not just limited to renewable sources.
The pressure on home budgets is growing. AEMO has intervened in the market again in the last week to stop New South Wales households taking advantage of the Victorian energy market price cap.
Which means that they're less exposed to the international market factors at play at the moment. But as a result, New South Wales customers have been draining the Victorian gas reserves.
As they're forced onto the open energy market, it means higher costs, which drives up demand for renewable energy.
Residential and commercial solar demand remains extremely strong. It is the most cost-effective solution for energy requirements right now.
There's also plenty of government incentives on offer to support the financial cost of switching to solar, set to support Labor's recently announced ambitious emissions reduction target, 43% by 2030.
There's currently a interest-free loan available from New South Wales State Government for people with existing systems to add a battery to that system.
But even without solar panels, you can save hundreds on bills. iSelect, an organisation that compares energy companies, has released new data shedding light on power pain.
62% of respondents in New South Wales are worried about their winter energy bill, and 62% again will be making cutbacks to pay for their next bill.
The government legislated that energy retailers can't charge exit fees. So basically shop around for a better deal.
Genevieve Lamond, PRIME7 News.
Still to come in PRIME7 local news, the O&M team's vying not to be this season's wooden spooners, and the Hume League honours the legends of the game.
Welcome back. Round 14 of the Ovens and Murray has a finals type of feel about it. It may not quite be September just yet, but for two clubs in particular, tomorrow is just as big. It's the mantle no side wants to have, the wooden spoon for finishing last. The loser of North Albury and the Wodonga Raiders will be in the box seat for that very honour.
We're a young side, so our games, I suppose it's like for any side, but our games where we drop away this year, our efforts have varied throughout the four quarters. So if we can bring a good attitude and make sure we're really strong over four quarters, that'll go a long way.
Round 14 has a September feel about it, with a number of games having plenty riding on the line. Wangaratta Rovers can seal a finals berth with a win away to Myrtleford, with both on track to meet in this year's elimination match.
Earlier in the year I would have said Rovers, but I think Myrtleford, I think I'll give them the tip.
Rutherglen and Lavington are both a game outside the top five, and Saturday shapes as an elimination final for both.
Lavington will get the job done fairly easy there. Cora played us last week and had a few out. So Lavington seem to be playing some good footy at the moment, having a good win over Wodonga last week as well.
Two of the premiership favourites, Albury and Wangaratta, meet at the Albury Sports Ground.
They're going to be up against it, to be honest, especially with a couple of their good midfielders still out, so I think Wangaratta will get the job done there.
And according to 2019 Morris Medal winner Jared Hodgkin, a spot in the grand final is wide open.
I think if Murderford get going as well, they could be a sneaky chance, but yeah, I think there's a clear favourite in Wangaratta, and that second spot, there's going to be a few teams going for it.
The Hume League is set to welcome a new batch of immortals into its Hall of Fame, each giving decades of service to the league and the clubs they love. There is no higher honour in a sporting league. Jack Stakeland played at Urana and Oaklands in the war era, with the on-baller becoming a three-time premiership player and league best and fairest.
He was 40, 45 when some of the guys I spoke to this year played against him, and he was just one of the guys at Urana. If you can stop Jack, you had a chance of beating Urana, and Urana was the Osmond of the time in the 40s. They were the side in the community.
At Howlong, no one is more known than Peter Morris. Still on the committee after more than 2 decades, now a league board member after more than 230 games.
23 years ago, he was voted in as a club director and is still there now, and he's still on the board of the Hume League. He's been fantastic and just a really great man for the Hume Football League, but he does understand local footy and understands how clubs tick because he's been president, secretary, treasurer. He's been a lot, Peter Morrison.
Julianne Clancy could be regarded as the First Lady of Hume Netball. More than 30 years of involvement, including 14 as president, 200 games, and pivotal in growing netball to 6 grades.
About 35 years she's been involved at club level and then at administration level, and continued to do the right thing by netball. And it's just, netball's come a long way with Julianne in charge.
Scott McGrath played 379 games for Hopefield Burrager and Colcan, multiple best and fairest winner, and remains on the Colcan board.
Scotty used to start on the bench because the coach said he'd never come off during the quarter. You'd go out to drag and give him a spell because he was a winger, on-baller type, midfielder. And they'd try and drag him, he wouldn't come off. So the coach said, what we're going to do is just start you on the bench at the start of every quarter, Scotty, so you'll only run on when I want you to.
Gary Micken is regarded as one of the greatest full forwards the league's ever seen. 1,055 goals, 250 games, and 5 flags at Walla.
They were the Osmond of the 70s and early 80s. Like, they were unbeatable. In 250 games, he kicked over 1,000 goals. So Gary Micken was one of those exceptional full forward footballers.
Meanwhile, in round 14, Gingera are at home to unbeaten Osborne. Holbrook and Howlong meet in a top 3 clash. The Murray Magpies host CDHBU. BB Saints should account for Henty away from home. Billabong hosts Colcan. And Lockhart is at home to the Giants. Lavington Sports Ground will host the National Football Carnival next week. Lavington will use both its grounds to host 6 states and territories of the best under 15 boys and girls across the country. This morning, New South Wales had a training session at the venue with 4 local players named as captain.
Yeah, I'm shocked. It's a big honour, obviously, being 14, playing for the New South Wales state side and get to captain the girls. It's exciting.
Depends on how our first 3 games go. We've got a rough draw, but if we win one of those 3, we should be going pretty good.
Games will be played Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday and Saturday of next week, commencing at 9:30am each day. Yakandanda and Barnawatha meet in the best of the Tallangatta League's round 14. The 6th place Roos do need an upset win over Barney or risk slipping 2 games outside the finals mix. Ovens and King has a blockbuster round for them in 17, with top of the ladder Benalla travelling to play 3rd place Millawa. And in the Upper Murray, it's 4 against 3rd when Federals play host to Cudgua. Checking the rest of the weekend sporting action now, and the Steamers men and women are both at home on Saturday. It's a must-win for our men against premiership favourites Wagga City. The Albury-Wodonga Bandits are at home to Maitland. It's an important clash for the men against their second-placed opposition. And in local soccer on Sunday, Albury United and Wangaratta, along with Myrtleford and Cobra meet in heavyweight contests, while Albury Hotspurs against St Pat's is the best of the women's fixtures. Still to come in Prime 7 local news, Phoebe Dees is back with all your local weather forecast next.
Hello again, welcome back. Now, as we head into the weekend, it looks as though we're going to see fine conditions across our Saturday and Sunday. Let's take a look now at what's happening on the synoptic chart. And as we can see here, we're seeing mostly fine conditions across our region with a high pressure system there. But that low, that east coast low, is whipping up wild conditions up and down the New South Wales coastline at the minute, continuing across the weekend as well. Now, there is another system pushing through from the southwest, and with that system, we are expecting to see some rain early next week, and temperatures are going to plummet as well by the time we get to the end of next week. Let's take a look at the forecast rain now as we head through the next 8 days. And along the coastline, we are expecting to see wet weather. For inland parts, we're only expecting to see up to 10 millimetres or so of rain over the next 8 days, and most of that is expected to fall on Monday and Tuesday as well. Now, on to the forecast now for Saturday. Corryong, a top of 15 degrees. We're going to see some cloud around. We shouldn't see any rain though. Beechworth 15, Mount Hotham 3, Omeo 14, Shepparton 17 degrees. So most of these temperatures are 3 or 4 degrees above average for this time of year. Moving into Sunday now, and on Sunday, looking pretty good. Corryong 17, Rutherglen 17, Beechworth 16 and Mount Bullers in for a top temp of just 5 degrees. We might see some rain around. Overnight lows aren't getting quite cool enough to get snow, dropping down to 0. Mount Hotham 4 degrees and Omeo 14. 13. The weather for Monday, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to see some scattered showers, Rutherglen 18. The forecast for the rest of the week now, well, next week anyway, 17 degrees the top on Monday, Tuesday 13, and temperatures starting to cool as well as we hit that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and into Friday as well. Let's check the best price in fuel heading into the weekend. The Albury APCO, as we heard earlier in the bulletin, is selling unleaded for $1.90 and diesel for $2.08. The Wodonga APCO has unleaded for $1.56, while diesel is $1.90. Further south in Myrtleford, the Alpine Servo has unleaded for $2, while over at the Woolworths in Wang, diesel costs $2.20. And that's your local news for tonight. Thanks for your company. You can join the debate on our Facebook page and you can catch up on our website or, of course, at 7plus. 7 News from Melbourne is coming up next. Have a lovely weekend. We'll see you again on Monday night at 6 o'clock. See you then.